Now from BTN Studios, the Biblical Truth Network presents The Edge, a prison ministry podcast from Less Than the Least Ministries.
Welcome to another episode of The Edge. We're so glad that you joined us. Please smash that like and subscribe button and share this with a friend, somebody who might want to hear the word today. I want to let you know that Stephanie isn't with me today as she's finishing up her recovery from surgery. She'll be back to 100% soon, and just ask that you keep those prayers coming. We appreciate it. I know the guys at Stringfellow and at Ramsey have been praying for her. We've been getting your JPays about that. Our church, lots of volunteers, friends, and family have been sending up prayers, and we really appreciate that support, and we're grateful for all that you do for us. Want to do some quick shout-outs this morning. Hi to Laura Carol Young. Thank you for your notes. You know, everybody needs to keep an eye out for the upcoming issue of our newsletter, Inside and Out. We're going to have a nice article that features Laura in it. If you haven't subscribed to Inside and Out, you can do that at our website, lessthantheleast.org. Just look at the bottom and where it says subscribe to our newsletter. Click that, and away you go. I want to do a shout out and say hello to all the guys at Ramsey Unit and all of our Spanish services there. We haven't mentioned it yet, but we had a great Christmas/New Year's celebration with them that included some Whataburger burgers and fries, and the funding came from their families and from Less Than the Least, and a gift from United City Church. There's a picture of our volunteer, Richard Pfeiffer, who is getting ready to deliver those burgers on our donate page. If you look at the donate page, Donate 2024, there's a nice little picture of him there with all those Whataburgers. I want to say hi to all the ladies at Plain State. You've got an exciting time coming up on Saturday, April 13th. Open Sky Houston will be joining us there. They do a presentation of the gospel through dance. We hope to get some great pics and photos to share with the rest of you. You know, up on the screen, you'll see now how to contact us. We're in the process of renovating BTN Studios, where we do all of our recording. The way we use our studio has changed so much over the last 7 years that it was way overdue, and we're excited to get it all done and show you what it looks like. I also want to say a special thank you to Wanda Daniel as she stepped up to be our volunteer coordinator. You'll find that in our newsletter as well. To start, she's going to be the primary contact for Pam Lichner, Plain State, Ramsey, and the Stiles unit. Wanda and her husband Ray have been associated with Less Than the Least since 2009, and Wanda used to work for TDCJ, so she brings a wealth of experience to the job. And Wanda, I just thank you so much for stepping up, and welcome aboard. Our biggest announcement today is that Angie Hill, who's our primary grant writer, has secured a $5,000 matching grant from the Bob Barker Foundation. No, it's not that Bob Barker, but it is the Bob Barker Foundation, and they're going to match dollar for dollar every donation we receive toward our costs for the Pando project up to $5,000. There's a place to learn more about that and how you can double your donation and contribution on our donate page. You know, your contributions to that effort will get us in a position to upload content like this podcast to over 400,000 inmate tablets nationwide, including virtually every inmate in Texas. You know, donate today and you can help us get there. All right, now we're going to turn to our guest today, which is Pastor David Humphrey. He is the Pastoral Care and Missions Pastor for United City Church in Humble, and one of our blessed church partners, and they're not only blessed, but they are a blessing. They're a blessing to Less Than the Least. They've been a huge supporter of ours. We had our annual fundraiser there last year, and they have a lot of volunteers who go into a lot of different places, and we're just so grateful to have them. And Pastor David Humphrey, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
I'm glad to be with you today, Bill. Always excited to talk about what God's doing with our inmate population, and whatever we can do to encourage others to just keep that ball rolling.
Well, great. One of the things I want to talk about today is something that United City started not too long ago, and that's participation with Pando from God Behind Bars and the Pando App tablets for inmates. And Pastor, maybe you could spend just a couple minutes walking us through the decision-making process for United City, why you decided to go that route.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, we have had a desire, and honestly, our first steps into the prison within the last couple of years were through Less Than the Least. And you were helping us to get some recorded versions of our sermons broadcast, in some of the prisons. And so when we began that, and God just began doing what he was doing in our church, he just kept bringing people like yourself and Stephanie, like others from Oaks of Righteousness and Jubilee Prison Ministry. A lot of other ministries just all sort of started coming to our church, and we just knew God was doing something. And so all of those things were happening independently. We're like, okay, Holy Spirit, what's happening here? We want to join in your action. So we finally became aware, maybe about a year ago, about this new effort through God Behind Bars, which is just an amazing, amazing ministry that is doing so much hands-on, face-to-face work in the prisons. That they had come up with a new initiative because so many prisoners are starting to get these tablets, and which gives them access to content. But a lot of the content, what we found on the tablets that they get, is paid content. So they have to, have money in their accounts and things like that. They also get their letters and things like that there. So there's a lot of good that's coming from the tablets. Well, the more that we began to look into this, what we realized was for an investment. So there is a financial investment. Our church could then not only just be going into a few places in a recorded fashion, like what we're doing through Less Than the Least before, but now we would have access to tens of thousands of prisoners, not just in Texas, but around the country. And that is a number that is expanding rapidly
In
because
fact, it's several 100,000, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. So it's moved. It's just growing quickly because I think a lot of this momentum began in Texas, but a lot of other states are seeing, oh, this is a good program. We can get behind this, and it helps with a lot of things. And so we also, because we're in and out of the prisons a lot, myself personally, we were seeing prisoners who are our friends, inmates that we know, and they were asking, hey, are you going to ever be on the Pando app? And we're like, we would love to be on the Pando app. And so as we began to weigh things out, the question became, okay, it's not if we're going to do this, but it's when. And when the funding became available for us through some generous donors here at United City, we jumped in with both feet, and it has been beyond our expectations, I can say, in every way.
Well, give me an idea behind the scenes, because you already record your services and upload them to YouTube. Is there
Yeah.
anything extra you had to do to get on Pando? And I know there are some things you've decided to do to make
Right.
the content more directed towards the prison population. But is there anything you had to do with the content you already had in order to make it available to God Behind Bars?
Other than, of course, we have to, you have to pay for your subscription to God Behind, to the Pando app. So that is what makes it free content to the prisoners. So that was one step that we had to take. And then they make it so easy. It's just literally, all we had to do was upload the content that we already had into their system, which has been a really simple thing. Our subscription, as it were, gives us a certain number of uploads every month. And I can't remember exactly what that number is. And there are different subscription levels, of course, that would allow you different numbers of uploads. So that's what we do. And I've just got one of our IT guys that does that real simply. To your point, we decided, and actually at your recommendation, to take it one step beyond and to record a very specific kind of outro that we put onto the end of every one of our messages now, because we wanted to find the way to get an easier next step. One of the stated goals of the Pando app, folks, and I've talked to the leader of the whole thing, they want the inmate population to connect to the local church. That's the goal. This is not just about content. This is about that, because that gives us a way to disciple. It gives us a way to evangelize and to build relationship. But he said, what we want is for this to take the next step, for the inmates from the inside to already feel like they are connected to a local church, but also that when they come out, for those that do, which we know is a large number of inmates, do not spend their lives
That's
in
right.
prison, right? They're going to get out at some time. And so that we want them to feel like, oh, there's a church that's ready to receive me. Like they want me to be a part of their fellowship. And literally, it's kind of hard to hold back the tears when I say that, because that is what we are seeing. We see inmates who connect with us on Pando. They watch the content, then they'll see the little outro, and I happen to be the one that recorded that. So because I'm the pastor that oversees prison ministry, so I just get to say, hey guys and gals, we love you. We're here. We're a church in the community here in Humble, Texas, and if when you get out, you want to find a family of faith that will help you along in your journey, like we're the ones. We would love to be that to you, and we would love to help you with your next steps. And so they believe that. They really do. They see the sincerity when our pastor, at the beginning of his message, which this is something he's done for a while, a couple of years now, he greets all of the inmate population, which also just disciples our entire congregation to say we care about this population of people just as much as we care about the people in the room. And so that has been a really powerful thing. But now we're starting to see more and more, literally just about every week, we see new inmates who are former inmates, right? Formerly incarcerated. Many of them gave their lives to Christ while incarcerated. Now they're becoming a part of our local fellowship. And they're a part of small groups, and they're part of ministries, and they're receiving what Jesus gave them, right? Which is, I mean, the church is what we all need to grow in our faith and to become fully devoted followers of Christ. We can't do this on our own. And it's the church in general where they can have grandmothers and grandfathers that maybe their own family system was broken. Well, they can come in and they can meet people of all generations within our church that just love them and welcome them. So it's been a really simple process for us to make it happen, but it has had so many benefits, and I think we're really just starting to see them because we've only been on for a few months. So I mean, it feels like we've been doing this for a year, but we really haven't. We started this in the fall of 2023.
Well, you said some things that I imagine other church pastors may be looking at going, when you talk about ex-offenders showing up in droves at your church. How do the regular congregation members, the ones who've never been in prison,
Yeah.
how do they look at that? How do they feel about all that?
Well, that's a great question. And humans are humans, right? We all live in a world where stereotypes are very normative, right? I mean, it's very common for us. Maybe those are racial stereotypes, maybe those are socioeconomic, right? We tend to look at people through a lens of, am I safe? Am I not? And so it's definitely been a process. And it's been something that we've been proactive about. One of the things, as I've already mentioned, that we've said is because we give a lot of time every single week, not a ton of time, but just there is a moment in every worship service at our church where the inmate population is welcomed and affirmed. Because we have some of them who are now a part of our church, former offenders, we also, like when there's a baptism and one of them, has given their lives to Christ, and we celebrate that. Sometimes we'll tell just a little of their story. So then what's happening is slowly but surely the church sees these are people whom we welcome and whom we celebrate. The Bible, I literally have just been doing some teaching in Luke chapter 15, and there's these three parables that are super well known. One of them is the parable of the lost sheep, where the shepherd leaves the 99 to go and to look for the one that wandered off. And when he finds it, he's happier about that sheep than about the 99 that didn't wander off. And then you've got the lost coin. She finally finds her lost coin and she celebrates. And then you've got the parable of the prodigal son. Some people would call that the waiting father. And when there's repentance, heaven celebrates. And so there's kind of a principle that our pastor says a lot, not just about this, but really just in general. And that is, what gets celebrated gets repeated. And so when we celebrate something like, oh, we love the prison population, right? We're glad you're here. People in the congregation are slowly but surely realizing these are just people just like you and me. Yes, they've made mistakes, but I've made mistakes too. We need to welcome them. And we certainly know that Jesus welcomes. And in fact, he tells us not only to welcome them when they get out, but he says, go to them when they're inside. And so we are excited to be able to take a both and approach. And adding the Pando app into our prison ministry has just taken everything to an entirely different level. I was literally in Lynchner State Prison last night, showing prisoners who are there. I was telling them, yeah, so we're with United City. And they're like, are you on the Pando app? I said, yes. I took them to the Pando. He brought out his tablet. I took him to the Pando app. We got him subscribed to United City, and they saw the faces of our pastors and the different men who would be sharing. And he just felt a real life connection, because we are, for those where we can be, we're in person, right? Like we show up, members of our church show up, but there are also hundreds of thousands of people where we're not going to show up in person. We can't get into all those places. They're in other states and across the country,
Well,
but we're still.
some are in ADSEG or in areas of the prisons that we can't go to, or who can't come to church,
That's
or
right.
don't go to church. That's been one of the things that has really caught my attention about Pando. It's that content that's on demand for them when they need it, where they need it, and they can watch it, pause it, listen, sit in the privacy of their own cell when they're alone, and do something that they might be reluctant to do publicly in a prison setting.
Yeah. Yeah, I've thought about that a lot too, Bill, and it really made me excited, because I think about that prisoner who doesn't want to go to chapel. You know what I mean? Just for the social ramifications that might be.
Right.
But they can quietly lay on their bunk and go, and they can go to the Pando app and listen. They're watching a lot more things there than just like our church. There's a lot of great churches there, but there's like the entire Chosen series is on there. And I've heard guys talking about being able to watch that, or they're learning things about, there are podcasts, there's a variety of content that are mixed in there, and it's continuing to grow, which is exciting. So I think I'm excited to be sort of on the front, on the leading edge of something that is only going to expand with time. And I cannot see a limit to the expansion of the reach.
Well, can you give me an idea while you're talking about reach? Can you give me an idea? Because I know Pando provides some analytics.
Yes.
I think you guys are on the basic subscription, so you get just some basic analytics. Can you give me an idea of what kind of reach United City is getting? Because United City is in Humble. It's not a Lakewood. It's not an Elevation Church, right? It's United City in Humble, Texas. Give me an idea of what kind of reach you guys have gotten from that.
Yeah. So again, we've been blown away. They told us, so the folks at Pando App, which by the way, were super easy to work with, they were really helpful in kind of the process. It was a very simple process, but they said, because we were trying to decide, okay, which level are we going to go in? And they said, if you can only do the basic level, you are going to be blown away. And I was like, okay, well, let's just see. Our church really likes to follow and to track. We're like, let's see how it goes. I said, I tried to believe that, but we like to track attendance. We like to track just to see, okay, how many people are giving their lives to Christ? What's going on with this? Well, I'll tell you, we've been doing this for, I guess it's been about 4, maybe 5 months now. So we started this in the fall of 2023. We've had several inmates receive Christ, and that's exciting. That's a great thing. But we have had 107,000 of our worship services watched at last count. 107,000 worship services that week, because we choose, some churches choose to upload only a sermon. But when we talked to the folks at Pando, they said, if you will upload your entire worship service, you're going to have a lot, even more traction, because they're looking for that music content as well, right? And the testimonies and the baptisms. They want to have a full worship experience. So we're like, okay, we're going to go all the way. And so that's what we do. We upload, I want to say maybe we upload 6 or 8 a month. I think that's what our subscription allows us. We have also gained 6,668 subscribers. So subscribers, just you can imagine what that means. That just means they've subscribed and said, I want to know every single time new content comes on from United City, I want that to go immediately to my personal channel on the Pando app. So that inmate has a channel of the maybe the churches or the parachurch ministries that they like to watch. And so whenever our new content comes in, that is highlighted on their personal channel. So we feel like we're making tremendous strides, and it's only going to continue. I really like the fact that we can track and see, of course, how many are watching. To see, we can even look, and we look by sermon to see which sermons are the most popular, which ones are getting less watches. So the analytics are in real time. We can go to that analytic board. It's not like something that I get an email every month. I have a link to my own analytics page where I can go in and see at any time, okay, this is the most recent stats. We had 5 people accept Christ over the last 3 months, or this many new subscribers and things like that. And we can see, okay, this past Sunday's sermon got this many watches. So it really make it user friendly.
I think it's interesting you probably, I'm going to catch you by surprise with this, don't have
Okay.
this number, but it would be interesting to compare that number of views over that many months, look at how many services that is.
Yes.
If you're doing 4 a month and it's been 5 months, that's probably 20 services, right?
Sure.
So you're averaging about 5,000 views per upload, roughly,
Right.
on average, right? It'd be
Yeah.
interesting to compare that to the number of views you get on YouTube.
It would be interesting, and I will guarantee you that we're getting more views on Pando than we are on YouTube. I know that's the case.
Yeah,
Um,
I just did a quick peek while you were talking there,
okay, yeah,
and there is one Pastor Chris Kuba sermon from "Don't Open That Door" that
uh-huh,
has over 4,000 views, but the
okay,
average seems to be somewhere between 300 and 500
uh-huh,
a week
yeah,
on YouTube. So
right,
you're doing 100-fold on Pando, or at least tenfold, excuse me, tenfold on Pando
that's right,
of what
that's
you're
right,
doing on YouTube. And
yeah,
it's not about the numbers necessarily, but when you look at the United City mission, which is everyone every day crossing every
mm,
divide, and then there's another neat little piece where you have a commitment to reach the lost, the least, and the last, or something like
yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
Um, this seems to be something that would almost be an automatic given for you.
yeah. It lined up so easily with, it's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, of course, prison ministry, it's one of those divides that we're trying to cross every divide to live united in Christ. And literally, it's funny because as we were walking into the prison last night with 5 of my men, we were going in to spend some time and to lead a worship service with some inmates. We were one of our guys that was going to bring the message last night. He said that very thing. He said, every time I walk in here, I think, crossing every divide to live united in Christ. Here we go, crossing through. We're going under this razor wire. We're
Yeah.
getting through all of the. And so the thing that Pando allows us to do is it just expands our reach exponentially. And so again, there's only so many of us that will be able to get into so many facilities, as far as face to face, and to have that interaction and to give those hugs and to celebrate baptism and to do the things that we get to do. And we love to do that, and we will continue to increase that in as many places as we can. But to know that now we're in, I don't even know how many different facilities across the United States have these uh, tablets available. And again, I know that it's something that it's sort of a pilot program that is beginning to expand quickly. I think our numbers are just going to drastically increase over the coming next few years.
Well, we're running low on time, and I appreciate the devotion you have to and passion for this to have spent this time with us. I'm going to, for the pastor or layperson who's watching this that says, "Gee, maybe our church might want to do that," I'm going to offer. I'm going to put up our contact information. You can contact me, and I'll help you guys
Yeah.
get connected up through Pando. But if there was one thing you wished someone had told you before you did the Pando app about Pando and God behind bars and this whole process you've been through, if there's one thing someone could have told you about it that you hadn't thought of, what would it be?
That's a great question. Honestly, as I said, they made it like they were super great to communicate with. All the Pando app folks really made it an easy process. I just think they told me what the impact could be. I just don't think I believed them. I had high hopes. I just didn't expect it to be as expansive as it has been. So they have exceeded our expectations, I would really say, on every level. Not only in the fact that we're having a greater reach than we even thought that we would, but there is something for customer service. You know what I mean? Like, they have been very easy to work with, because there is some interaction that has to happen, because they are managing a platform. You know what I mean? And they've had a couple of times where they've had some glitches, and those things happen anytime that you've got a digital platform. But they've been very responsive, and our IT guy that handles that for us has been very pleased with how quickly they've been able to manage things. And I just I guess I should say this: believe the hype, because it's not hype. Like this is real. Like, I literally looked an inmate in the eyes last night with tears in his eyes. He was so grateful for my presence there last night, but that my presence would not leave 100% when I left, because he can stay connected to this local church. And that, to know that is the heart of the Pando app, to get inmates connected to the local church for long term, that really says it all to me, because I truly believe that the local church is the hope of the world, because we're the ones that share the gospel. We're what the world needs more of, not less of. And we're what these inmates are going to need more of when they are out. And even for those who are not out and are not going to be out for a long time, they need a connection to a local church to feel like, you know what, those are people there that love me and that accept me no matter what.
Well, and for inmates or ex-inmates that may be watching this and they're looking for a church home, which is so important in anyone's life, but especially someone returning to society, I'm going to put up your address and the URL for your website for United City Church, because I know you're welcome there. And Pastor David, thank you so much for all that you do and for the partnership that United City and Less Than the Least have. We're very grateful for you, for your prayers, your participation, and everything that you do. We're blessed to have you in our lives.
We're honored to serve alongside.
God bless you. And y'all, that's it for today. You've been listening to The Edge with Bill and Stephanie, a podcast of Less Than the Least Ministries. If you enjoyed today's podcast, we hope that you'll let us know. If you gave your life to Jesus today, drop us a note so that we can pray for you. And if you're incarcerated, we'll send you a free study Bible. You can reach Less Than the Least Ministries by writing to Less Than the Least, attention, The Edge, at 9659 North Sam Houston Parkway East, Suite 150/231, Humble, Texas 77396. Our email address is info@lessthantheleast.org, and we hope that we will hear from you and hope that you'll join us again next time. God bless.
Hi, thanks for joining us today on The Edge, a Less Than the Least Ministries podcast.
We'll see you next time right here on The Edge.